Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we'll be discussing why I love the SM7b so much, if you can record a dynamic microphone directly to the Zoom H1n, and a whole lot more, so go ahead and stick around. Okay, let's get started with the episode. We are not covering any news this week because all of the news is so incredibly political. If you want an update, Jake Paul got raided by the FBI for looting in Arizona. Trump banned TikTok and he banned it again and again and again. I don't know what's happening. Apple is at war with Fortnite, with Google. I don't know. I don't care. They're fighting. They are all big mad and they want to ban stuff and I don't want to talk about it. We are just going to jump to what I've been testing. This is going to conclude for the current run the Neumann U67 stint on the BSP. I will be coming back to this microphone, but I have so many other exciting microphones that are much more affordable that I want to give a fair shake to and use on the show and not delay the reviews for another year and a half because I want to use the U67 for so long. Once I am through running all those other microphones, then I will most likely throw the U67 back on the stand because gosh darn it if I don't love how it sounds, and gosh darn it if I don't need to get my money's worth. My initial thoughts on this microphone with a month under my belt is it sounds incredible. It is clear, it is detailed, but it is not unnatural sounding, and that is something that is shocking to me. This was designed over half a century ago. This was designed in the 60s, yet it still sounds better than the majority of microphones that I think are released today. Yes, there are technical limitations to this microphone, mainly the SPL being 107 or 117 dB. It cannot take loud sound sources very well at all, but as far as the tonality of the microphone, it is incredible. It is incredible what was accomplished half a century ago. But let me know in the comments on YouTube what you think of this microphone. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's worth $7,000? Yeah, that's how much the microphone cost, and that is why it is going back on the stand once I'm done running through all the other microphones. But I really do enjoy it. I cannot wait to use it again. Let me know in the comments down below. Now let's jump to what you had to say, and the first comment comes from Sound Speeds! Alan, Sound Speeds! Bah! What does he have to say? Dave Rat is another front-of-house audio engineer that does next-level videos talking about what he does during his day job. Highly recommend his channel. Geez, those people that work 60 hours per week doing something and then coming back home and making more videos on that topic sound like crazy people. Someone needs to throw them in the loony bin. That is right. I agree 100% with you, Alan from Sound Speeds. If somebody is working a day job for 60 hours during the week and then they go home and they make videos about it, spending another 20, 30 hours a week on that topic, they are crazy people and they do need to be thrown in the loony bin. And just a heads up, this is unrelated to anything we're discussing. The white van outside your home with the guys and the straitjacket, completely unrelated, has nothing to do with this. Just go with them. I'm sure it's a vacation. It'll be fun, Alan. It'll be fun. If anybody doesn't know, Alan runs the Sound Speeds YouTube channel and he does boom operating for the motion picture film industry. He makes videos about booming and sound. He is a crazy person in the best way possible. Go check out his channel. I'll throw a link in the description down below, and I'll also throw a link to Dave Rat's channel. Next, we have a comment from Hades Stamps, and he says, if I am to be honest, the main thing that gives you a broadcast voice is the post-processing. Hades Stamps, that is very true. Let me go ahead and snap my fingers. I forgot what this action was called. I can't snap. Ow. That was good enough. Now listen to my voice. This is a broadcast tone, aka I am compressing the audio to hell. This is what the broadcast tone is, especially if you get right up on the microphone, you speak quietly, you just got that warm, smooth voice. Hey, everybody, welcome to KUXP, CUXP, CUXP. What? Guy, hey, back on character. I apologize to all the sensitive listeners out there. KUXP coming at you because we can't all be cucks, but you sure are. I agree 100% with you, X80 Stamps. Let's jump to the next comment from Not Greg, and he says, while I get where you're coming from with the Sargon issue, I purposely avoid his content, so the context I have is what you brought up. A number of creators that I sponsor on Patreon ask for per-month contribution. Thus, the content isn't necessarily being funded, but the creator is what I am putting my money toward. Also, for all the talk of diversification of platforms, isn't it hypocritical to say he shouldn't be banned for something that happened on a different platform from where he chiefly makes his money? Totally understand how this starts to get into some thicker, more drawn-out discussions, debate areas, just voicing my opinion. Not Greg, I think you are completely correct in terms of you are funding the creator as opposed to a specific piece of content. However, I do not think that it is hypocritical to fight being banned on a platform if you did nothing on that platform to violate their terms of service and justify that ban. The entire reason to diversify your platforms and diversify your income streams is to ensure that if you do get banned off of a platform, all of your revenue does not dry up overnight, but that does not mean that if you get banned illegitimately, that you just bend over and say, thank you, may I have another? Thank you for banning me, I appreciate that. It's more about ensuring that you have sources of income while you fight that, if you are able to fight that. In this case, it doesn't seem like he had banned the terms of service of Patreon, and they banned him for some other random whatever. And that is where the issue is. I don't think it's hypocritical to determine that you are going to fight a ban if you do decide that it is unjustified, or if your audience wants to fight Patreon on your behalf, they have the right to do that. And Sargon seems to be advocating for that or encouraging that because he tends to want to argue for complete and free speech online, which I understand his position. I also understand Patreon's position, but if Patreon wants to be able to ban people for their behavior on other platforms, that should have been in the terms of service. They should have made that clear to everybody signing up for Patreon as a creator as well as being a patron. I think there's a lot of gray area here. We'll have to wait and see how it turns out, and it will be fascinating because this is going to be setting a precedent going forward about how platforms can ban people and what platforms are capable or able to ban people for. I do agree it is a very touchy subject, and there is a lot going on in this arena, and it would benefit from a longer back and forth conversation. So if you want to have the conversation, hit me up on Discord or something. Happy to have that. That would be quite interesting and fun. Thank you very much, Greg. Next comment comes from Akira. They say, didn't you do a cover of Dinner at the Money Table like 15 years ago? May be confusing you with someone else, lol. Akira, I don't know what you're talking about. No, I have not been uploading to YouTube since 2005, doing very poor covers of bands, one of them being Emily from First to Last, the other being Dinner at the Money Table by the early November. Definitely not me. Whatever could you be talking about? That's not me. That is not me. Okay? Understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. That sound and that image are not me. Glad we cleared that up. Thanks, Akira. What a weird small world. Next, we got a comment from Rogelio or Rogelio. I suck at speaking Spanish. I apologize, sir. He says, Mexican over here. If you can drink the salsa, it wasn't spicy enough. Ha ha ha. Rogelio, that is an excellent point. A few years back when I was younger, I would be right there with you. eating the spiciest salsa and hot sauce that was available on the market and enjoying every gosh darn second of it. I have since gone a different road. I have decided to not embrace the pain of the spiciest salsas and hot sauces out there because it may be enjoyable. It may release endorphins in your brain during the time you're eating it, but on the note of butts, the next day is never fun. And I don't. This is gross. You get the point. You get the point. It's not the enjoyment. I'm having too much fun with this episode. The enjoyment that I got out of eating the spicy food was outweighed by the pain that came at a later time. Thank you very much for the comment. I appreciate you, Rogelio. And just so everybody knows, I was coined an honorary Mexican by my classmates from Mexico. So I don't know if that matters at all. Just saying. Okay, I'm going to get canceled for this episode. Let's jump to the Ask Bandrew segment, my favorite part of the show. Alrighty, if y'all have any questions that you want answered, you can go to askbandrew.com. You can send in an audio, video, or text-based question. I do prefer audio and video. After all, we are a bunch of audio nerds. You have a microphone, I have a microphone. Send in an audio question talking into that microphone so I can hear how you sound on that microphone while I respond to you on the microphone that I am using, and you can hear how I sound on my microphone. If you send in a text-based question, you have to suffer through me reading. Let's jump. I don't know what's happening today. I had a headache when I woke up. I took some Advil, my head is feeling better, and now I'm all giddy. I'm all jibby with it. Something. Let's jump to the first voice submission.
Hey Bandrew, Samuel here, and I got a small question regarding USB microphones. I'm currently using a pretty bad sounding USB mic, and I need to upgrade to a better one since I am doing a lot of commentary and reviews of certain things in a certain little game. I've been eyeing the Samsung C01U Pro since it has everything I need. It picks up little noise, sounds clear, and most importantly, it fits my budget. Is there any other USB mic in this price range up to $130 that you'd recommend? Thanks a lot.
Samuel, thank you very much for that question. Any USB microphones under $130 that I would recommend? Yes, there are aplenty. I do think the C01U Pro is still an excellent option. I think in an untreated space, a dynamic microphone may yield better results. You could get by with a C01U Pro. It'll work fine. You may just have a touch more reverb in the background. I would recommend also checking out the Samson Q2U, the Audio-Technica AT2100 USB, or the new 2100X USB or USB-X, whatever it is, and the Audio-Technica AT2005 USB. All of those are great options. If you are looking at condensers specifically, the Rode NT USB Mini is also pretty good for the $100 price. You could also throw in, excuse me while I vomit, the Blue Yeti Nano. Oh, God. Oh, God. You could throw that in the mix. I'm just being a asshole now at this point. I don't hate Blue as much as I give off. The Blue Yeti Nano is perfectly tolerable. And I think the Elgato Wave 1 or Wave 3, I don't know which one, it's at the $130 price point. That may be another really good option. I like the limiter on the Wave 3 or Wave 1. I think they both have it. Both really good options, different tone. All of these have quite different tones to them. The Samson, the Yeti, very different. The NT USB Mini, the Wave 3, the Wave 1, very different tones to them. Those are my recommendations, Samuel. Samuel, I hope that helps you. Thank you very much for the question. Let's jump to the next submission, which is an email from Aditya. They say, Hi, Bandrew. I am currently using a Zoom H1n handy recorder to record some saxophone tracks just for fun, but I'm noticing that I'm getting a lot of background noise. At this point in time, I'm not at all considering having my room treated. My potential solution is to get a dynamic instrument microphone. My question to you is if it would work to plug in a mic, the SM57, RE320, RE20, or MK421, directly into the mic input of the Zoom H1n since there is no phantom power requirement? Or could I take the iRig Pre, the 3.5mm version, and plug that into the Zoom for some extra gain? Thank you for your time and keep putting out audio content. I have really been enjoying it. Thank you, Aditya. Aditya, thank you very much for the email. I apologize for butchering your name because I know I did. I recorded a quick sample of the SM57 running into the Zoom H1. I didn't record this yet, but I am going to record this right now. I will record myself running the SM57 into the, into the H1 and see how that works, if it works any better. Let's jump to the audio samples right now. Alrighty, here we are. I have the Shure SM57 running over an XLR to 3.5mm cable connected to the Zoom H1 microphone line input. My gain is set at 100%. I do not have auto level, any kind of filtering on. And yikes. I'm hitting around -6 dB. I'll go ahead and be quiet. It's possible that the hiss that I am hearing, which is egregious, is the headphone amp in the Zoom H1. Very possible, but we will know when we listen back to it. And when I say we, I mean me and my other self. But here's how it's sounding. So in theory, yes, you can use a dynamic microphone running direct into the Zoom H1. I don't think I would recommend it because this is bordering on unusable, at least based on what I am hearing right now. That is my take on it. Hopefully that helps answer your question. I would not do it unless I absolutely had to. It seems as though the microphone input and the line input on this thing is more designed for lav microphones that take plug-in power because those don't require as much gain. You can drive them much easier. With a microphone like the SM57 or anything, they need a lot of gain. The Zoom H1 does not provide that. There you go. Hope that helped. And here we are testing the second method that you recommended. I am running the SM57 into the 3.5mm iRig Pre. I connected the iRig Pre directly to the Zoom H1. It did not work, and that is because the 3.5mm adapter is a TRRS adapter, which does not work into this recorder. I got a TRRS to dual TRS splitter, which splits up the headphones and the microphone output, connected the microphone output to the Zoom H1. My gain on the Zoom H1 is set to 20%. I may even be clipping at some points, but we're getting pretty good levels there. And here is how it sounds compared to the other one. I'll just go ahead and move this back. I'll be quiet also so you can hear the noise. There you go. Hopefully that helped answer your question, Aditya. Again, I apologize for butchering your name. Let's jump to the next question.
Hi, Bandrew. I hope you're doing good, sir. Before I ask you something, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for this lovely videos, and I really like your originality and your honesty. So thank you very much for that one, and thank you. I learned a lot this couple of days. I discovered recently your channel, and thank you very much, sir, and keep this good, amazing work, and wish you the best on that direction. I have a YouTube channel where I record video games. I comment on them. I bought this mic. It's an Audio Technica AT2020 USB Plus for the sake of simplicity and because I didn't have a lot of space on my desk. It's a good mic for my opinion, but I'm recording with it currently with Audacity 2.4.1, I think, the newest one. And but when I record my games, it doesn't have a lot of gain, so I can't really be heard clearly. And I reduced like main or master volume on the games, but the problem is that it ruins the experience. And when they talk, sometimes you can't hear really the characters on the game once they are talking, because I have to reduce the volume. And if you can suggest me a mic, I'm trying to get now with a mic with an XLR cable. You can hear my voice and know better. You gained a lot of experience by now, surely. And I can't afford a lot of mics as you have, and test them out which one is for my voice. So if you can help me in that, I really appreciate that, sir. And I'm really grateful for that. And what should I take? What preamps and or what this interfaces or anything you can guide me to or suggest me? If you can make a video, or when you do your videos, if you can include this one, I highly appreciate that, sir. And if you can make a video, because it's a little bit confusing, all this preamps, interfaces, compressors, high passes, low passes, and that the boosting and stuff. If you can show us more, and by making some examples in your videos, and what kind of software to use. You have a mic, but I don't have, so I have Windows. If you can suggest us any software where we can do the post-processing if we need it, I highly appreciate that, sir. And thank you very much again, and have a good one. Take care.
Thank you so much for that amazing question, and thank you so much for the extremely kind words. There is a lot to unpack in this voice submission, and I will tell you right now, I am not going to answer everything that you request in this, because then this would be a 4-hour episode, and it would be multiple weeks of podcastage videos that I would be able to make. So I am going to break a lot of these out into podcastage videos eventually when I get to them. Let's start with you having the AT2020 plus USB thing. That is a perfectly sufficient microphone. I don't think there should be any issues with your voice being louder than the game. I would assume that you're recording the game and the microphone in OBS. You could very easily just adjust the game volume down in OBS. Then the recording would have your voice much more prominent compared to the game, making it easier for your audience to hear what you're saying. As far as you hearing your voice louder than the game, that is going to be difficult with a microphone like that. You would just have to decrease the master game volume. Unfortunately, as you say, that's going to affect the effect that you're getting out of the game, because you don't have that same impact when stuff hits, when bullets are shot, anything, or when you're jumping as Mario, whatever game you're playing. That is going to affect that. Unfortunately, that is going to likely be the best solution, adjusting that. Another option when you are going the XLR route, first thing I want to say, buying an XLR microphone by itself is not going to make it so your voice is more prominent over the game audio. That is really done through mixing. You could also try adding an EQ and cutting out a little bit of the mid frequencies from the game in OBS, and that will make more room for your voice to come through, because human spoken word is very mid-range focused. That's why telephones in the old times would pick up audio from 300 to 3000 hertz, if I'm remembering correctly. It's because those are the essential frequencies to understand what is being said. So if you cut out a little bit of a dip in the game audio in that range, that would make a little bit of room for your voice to come through on the microphone. With that being said, you could buy a mixer or an audio interface. The Yamaha MG10XU is a very popular USB mixer. You do need to buy the USB cable separately because they're stupid and they don't include that in the box. But that allows you to run USB audio out of the computer to a fader and then you can control the game audio as well as your microphone's audio. It's a really popular mixer among streamers, at least the streamers that I know, and it seems to work pretty well for them. You could also go the route of an audio interface like the Audient ID4, if I'm remembering correctly. That has a mix dial, which allows you to mix between the zero latency monitoring, which is your headphones, and the computer playback, which would be your game audio. That does not affect the recording levels. It's only affecting what you're hearing in your headphones. If you wanted to get more of your voice in your headphones, make it so it's playing more of your voice in your headphones, and that won't change anything that you're recording. I hope that helped. I hope that gave you some insight. You could just adjust the level in OBS if the main concern is the recording level and the game being too loud. The other option would be get a USB mixer. You could also throw on a mid-cut in the EQ, and that would clear out some room for your voice. Or you could get an audio interface that has a mix dial that allows you to mix between your spoken word, the microphone you're recording, and the computer playback. Thank you very much for the question. Let me know if you got any more in the questions down below, in the comments down below. Next, we have an email from Kabir. I apologize for butchering your name. They say, I am buying the Rode NT1. Actually, I am buying for YouTube purpose. Do I need an audio interface to connect directly it to my PC? Really need your help because I don't know anything about microphones. Thank you very much for the question, and to answer it briefly, yes. You will need an audio interface to connect an XLR microphone up to your computer. I just grabbed one. This is the Audient Evo 4. You will also need to make sure that you have an XLR to XLR cable to connect the microphone to your audio interface. The NT1 is what is called a condenser microphone, meaning it requires 48 volts of phantom power to turn on and function properly. The majority of audio interfaces do provide that. The Audient, the Focusrite audio interfaces, the Rode audio interfaces, all of those offer 48 volts phantom power. And what this allows you to do is take the audio from your microphone, run it into this audio interface box, boost the signal because microphones' outputs are extremely quiet, and then convert it from analog, the sound waves in the whatever, and then convert it to electricity into a digital signal. It has an analog to digital converter and a digital to analog converter. So it can get the audio that you're producing with your microphone into your computer, and it will take the audio from your computer, convert it to analog so you can listen to it through the headphone or the monitor outputs. There you go. Hopefully that helped. Let me know if you got any more questions. We got another voice submission from Adam. Take it away, Adam.
Hey, Bandrew, this is Adam. I was just curious what you think about the Rodecaster Pro integrated podcast production console. Whether you've used it, whether you've reviewed it, I can't really find anything. But what are your thoughts about that as a kind of all-in-one production center for a podcast? Thanks.
Adam, thank you very much for the voice submission. I have done a review of the Rodecaster Pro. I will link it in the show notes, the episode notes, if you want to check that out. The review was done right around launch, and since the launch, they have done a tremendous amount of updates. Because of that, I do need to do a follow-up video on Podcastage 2 covering all of the updates they have made because it is quite a different device now. And to be honest, it seems as though they have resolved pretty much every single complaint that I had about the thing, other than the one complaint that they are unable to resolve, which is adding quarter-inch balanced line inputs so I could run outboard gear, or having inserts, sends and returns so you could run the microphone through the Rodecaster Pro's preamp, output into an outboard compressor, and then run it back through the return. They don't have that. That's nothing they can solve with software updates. Maybe they'll release a Rodecaster Pro, and they'll have that stuff, which would be really, really neat to see. But I think they're really going for the inboard, simple one-box solution so you don't have to have an entire rack of gear to solve the same stuff. what they have added, which is really cool, is they have finally rolled out extremely granular controls over all of the effects. You're able to fine-tune the sound that you want. If the high-pass filter is too aggressive, you can change the frequency. If the oral exciter is just too much, which I think it is in the auto set portion or the auto option, you're able to adjust the frequency and the amount that the oral exciter is doing. You're able to adjust the frequency and the amount of the big bottom. You can control so much about the Rodecaster Pro's effects now, and it is incredible. You have mix minus over 3.5 millimeter, over USB, over Bluetooth. It is an extremely convenient podcasting studio device. Does it have the best microphone preamps? No, it does not. If you are buying this expecting to get a Neve 1073 out of it, you're not going to get that. If you're expecting to get a Universal Audio X8 level preamp, you're not going to get it. They are not the quietest preamps out there. They do have a bit of noise. That's where the noise gate comes in, and you're able to adjust that as well. But as a whole, as an entire package, I think it is really convenient. I know other people prefer the Zoom Live Track thing, the L12 or L8. They prefer that because it does have the inputs. It records differently. People are just Zoom fans. People are Rode fans. I think either of those would be really useful. The Rode one seems much more intuitive to me. If you want to tinker around, the L8 or L12 may be a better option. The reason I don't use it, because I do have it, is because I have a single microphone. I'm a single microphone podcaster. I do not do a soundboard. I add all of my sounds in post. I like running through outboard gear on occasion because I like to test this stuff out, and I have to eventually review it one day. That is why I don't do it. That is why I don't use it. I don't want a big thing sitting on my desk because I don't need that. I have a rack mount interface that does everything that I need, and I think has processing and emulations that is probably 10 times better than what Rode is doing. At least that's what I'm telling myself, because I pay 10 times as much for the plugins for the Universal Audio. So let's just pretend that they are 10 times better. To summarize, I think it is a very convenient, very useful device. If you bought outboard gear that does everything that that box does, you'd be looking at upwards of probably $1,000, maybe $2,000 for a single channel to get the audio interface, the Aphex processing, the EQ, the compressor, the noise gate, all in outboard gear, all of that. Keep in mind also, if you aren't live streaming, you can do all of those effects in post-processing and save yourself a boatload of money with a 4-channel audio interface. Then you'd have to do some silly routing on the computer to get the mix-minus stuff going on. But I think it's a really useful tool if it fits your needs and your use case. If it's just you, don't waste your money. You don't need it if it's just 1 or 2 people sitting in a room. But if you got the money and it's burning a hole in your pocket, go for it, man. I hope that gave you some insight. We have one last voice submission. Go ahead and take it away.
Hey there, Bandrew. I have a question for you regarding the SM7b. To me, it sounds like really muffled. Like, it doesn't matter who's using it, whether it's in your content or other people. It always sounds to me like the person has cotton balls in their mouth. And I tried different headphones, different earpods, or earbuds, and they all sound the same to me. So I'm confused as to why it's so popular, especially with you, because I know you have access to lots of microphones and you have fairly decent like monitors and stuff and headphones. So I'm confused as to why other people don't seem to find it's muffled. Would you have an opinion or something to share on this? Thanks.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Hang on, excuse me while I hit a button really quick. Yep, red alert, shots have been fired. Somebody doesn't like the SM7b. Send in the troops. I'm just kidding. I want to address first why I like the SM7B so much. This is one of my all-time favorite microphones. I absolutely adore it. First, I will say that I disagree that using the SM7B or whenever somebody uses the SM7B, that they sound like they have cotton balls in their mouth. I don't agree with that comparison at all. I will agree that the SM7B is a dark microphone, but because it is dark and doesn't overboost those upper frequencies, it is very smooth sounding to me. And that is the main thing that draws me to this microphone. It is so incredibly smooth and so easy to listen to. When I listen to a lot of dynamic microphones, whether it be a handheld dynamic or a broadcast dynamic, a lot of them seem to overboost the presence region and the treble region, and that leads to it sounding, first, very unnatural, and second, very gritty and grainy, and I am not a fan of it. It just does not sound normal. It sounds unnatural, unpleasant, sibilant, sharp, and unpleasant to listen to. I think I said that twice, but that is how I feel about it. It is so unpleasant to listen to 3 times. And then you have the SM7B, which goes the complete opposite direction and offers you an option to not boost any of the presence, any of the treble, and to leave it relatively neutral. It is easy to listen to. It is smooth. It is soft. Yes, it is dark. Yes, it is not as articulate as a U67 or an RE320, but it is going to be easy to listen to for long periods of time because it does not have any sharp upper frequencies that will make it sound fatiguing. To give you a few other options that I think sound incredible, the SE Electronics SEV7 for a handheld dynamic, that thing sounds incredible. Another one of my all-time favorites, the Bayer Dynamic M201TG. Holy smokes, that thing sounds incredible. It sounds similarly smooth to the SM7B, but it extends farther into the upper frequencies without getting fatiguing or sharp or sounding overboosted. It sounds natural to what it is actually capturing. Those are 3 dynamics that I absolutely love. It's one of my all-time favorite mics. It will continue to be one of my all-time favorite mics, and I'm not using it. I haven't used it in quite some time because I do have nicer microphones that I am testing and using. But when I throw this on the stand and throw on a little bit of compression, maybe throw on a tiny bit of a boost in the upper frequencies, maybe a dB or 2, I think it sounds incredible. One of my all-time favorites. As far as why other people love the SM7B and why it is so popular, you ready for this? Are you ready for this? It's because it's a trend. It's trendy. It's just like the Blue Yeti. Everybody bought the Blue Yeti because they saw other people using the Blue Yeti and they thought that is what was required to be a YouTuber or a podcaster. It's the same thing with the SM7B. People see other people using the SM7B and think, oh, I must need that. That must be the thing that I need to be an actual podcaster or an actual YouTuber. You don't. A few months ago, I made a video when to upgrade your audio interface and your microphone, or when should you upgrade your audio interface and microphone, and within the first few minutes, I specifically said, just because you see everybody else using the SM7B or the Blue Yeti, that does not mean it is the right microphone for you. You need to do proper research to determine if the microphone fits your use case, your needs, or your preferences. Is it going to be the microphone that you want, or are you buying it just because you saw everybody else using it and you think that it's what you need? That's why it's popular right now. That's why everybody is using it, because they see everybody. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. Everybody uses the SM7B because they see everybody else using the SM7B. So when other people see everybody else using the SM7B, they buy the SM7B, and then other people see everybody else using the SM7. You see what's happening? It's the exact same thing with the Blue Yeti. That doesn't take away from the SM7B being an incredible microphone, in my opinion, but it is not the right microphone for everybody, especially if you don't set it up properly, see my podcast episode about Jay's 2 cents. And especially if you don't like darker, smoother sounding microphones, or if you're plugging it directly into your computer. I have seen people doing that. And I've received comments, hey, can I plug the SM7b directly into my computer's motherboard? No, you can't. Don't do that. Bad. Okay. I hope that sufficiently answered your question. And your hateful question. I'm being bullied. I think I clipped the microphone. I'm being bullied because I love the SM7B so much. I do love this microphone. Gosh darn it. Okay. I think I'm going to wrap up there. I got nothing else because screw the news. The news can go eat a bag of dicks. Sorry for the vulgarities. I hope you all have an amazing week. I hope you had an amazing week. I hope you had an amazing weekend. I hope you had some time off to relax, chillax, homies, my buddies, my pals. Hey, all y'all hanging out. Pew, 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 pew. Like I said, I'm just having fun with this episode. I don't know what I'm doing. I hope you all have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you. Go watch a horror movie. Go love your SM7B if you got one. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. I love you. You're the best. Bye-bye. Yeah. Love the SM7B. You. Okay. Bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.